The central bank has launched a major investigation into Ireland's life insurance firms over potential widespread overcharging, potentially uncovering one of the largest consumer scandals since the tracker mortgage crisis. Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Brief. Today is Thursday, 23rd July 2026. I'm Neil, and in the next few minutes, I'll take you through the news that matters at home in Ireland, then across to Britain, and out into the wider world. Everything you need to know before the day begins. Ireland. Let's begin here at home in Ireland. The central bank has ordered a sweeping investigation into the country's domestic life insurance companies, potentially uncovering one of the largest consumer overcharging scandals since the tracker mortgage debacle. The probe could reveal systematic overcharging affecting life insurance policyholders right across the nation. This follows a pattern we've seen before, and regulators are moving to establish the scale and scope of what may have gone wrong. For anyone with a life insurance policy in Ireland, this matters because you could have been overcharged without knowing it, and this investigation could lead to compensation similar to what happened with mortgages. It's about money directly in your pocket. The government has presented its summer economic statement, and the message is sobering. Finance Minister Simon Harris has stated plainly that there is no new magic money available. Spending growth is slowing, and fewer new measures will be introduced in Budget 2027. Ministers are warning of necessary trade-offs in public spending ahead. Here at home, that means public services, wages, and investment will face constraints. Households should prepare for a tighter budget cycle, with tax changes and spending cuts likely to feature when Budget 2027 is unveiled. In Kyiv this morning, Taoiseach Micheál Martin is meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss the European Union's ongoing support for Ukraine amid intensified Russian strikes. The discussions are expected to cover EU sanctions policy and the impact on Irish business, specifically the status of Auchinish Alumina, which faces EU sanctions-related disruption. For Ireland, this matters because it shapes our government's position on EU support for Ukraine and demonstrates how European conflicts reach directly into Irish industry and employment. Auchinish Alumina is a major employer, and EU policy decisions affect operations here at home. And effective from tomorrow morning, Friday, a nationwide hosepipe ban comes into effect across Ireland and will remain in place until the 26th of August. The ban applies to domestic users and specified non-essential uses, though some businesses like car washes are exempt. The knock-on effect for Irish households? No watering gardens, no hosepipe car washing, and strict limits on outdoor water use during one of the hottest months of the year. Water shortages have forced authorities to act to protect supply. UK. Now, across the Irish Sea to the UK. UK water levels are nearing all-time lows as drought conditions persist across multiple regions, and water authorities are preparing major announcements. The crisis threatens water supply security and agricultural output across Britain, and the conditions are severe enough that emergency measures are being prepared. For Ireland, this matters because water scarcity in the UK affects cross-border water management, particularly in Northern Ireland, where supplies are shared infrastructure, and drought conditions in Britain can push up food prices that Irish consumers depend on. Research from water campaigners has revealed secret court documents showing that the majority of sewage spills by English water companies may be violating environmental laws. The findings raise serious questions about regulatory enforcement and whether water firms have been operating illegally while facing inadequate scrutiny. And the Irish angle? English water pollution directly affects Irish coastal waters and fishing grounds through cross-border rivers and the Irish Sea. Ireland's environmental standards mean our authorities must monitor these impacts on shared waterways and marine ecosystems. UK Prime Minister Andy Burnham has ordered a review of early release plans for violent offenders, following public outcry from victims' families. The decision signals a potential policy shift on criminal justice that could reshape how the UK handles serious crime sentencing. Closer to home, changes to UK criminal justice and early release policies affect Northern Ireland's justice system and cross-border policing cooperation. Irish authorities coordinate with UK law enforcement on serious crime, and shifts in criminal policy can impact security arrangements across the island. World. And finally, out into the wider world. Iran-backed Houthi forces have claimed attacks on oil tankers in the Red Sea, marking escalation in maritime operations and prompting US military strikes in response. The attacks target critical global shipping routes carrying energy supplies, and tensions between the US and Iran continue to intensify. For Ireland, this matters because Red Sea shipping disruptions drive up fuel and goods prices for Irish importers and exporters. Every day these tensions persist, transport costs rise for businesses trying to move cargo globally. The United States has signed a landmark nuclear cooperation agreement with Saudi Arabia, giving American firms significant access to the kingdom's nuclear energy program. The deal comes amid broader Middle East tensions and signals US commitment to regional stability while reshaping the global energy landscape. Why does this matter on this side of the Irish Sea? Because it signals where US energy strategy is heading and affects global oil prices that Irish businesses and consumers pay at the pump. Geopolitical moves in the Middle East feed directly into what you pay for fuel. US President Trump has identified Canada's dairy supply management system as a key irritant, justifying new tariffs. This signals potential broader trade tensions affecting North American agricultural markets and raises questions about how far protectionist policies will spread. Trade tensions between the US and Canada could affect Irish dairy and food export competitiveness globally, while also signalling Trump administration protectionism that may impact Ireland's own trading relationships with the US. The European Union has approved the merger of Paramount and Warner Bros. Discovery, with specific conditions attached. The decision impacts media market competition and content distribution across Europe, setting precedent for how EU regulators handle major tech and media consolidation. This matters on this side of the Irish Sea because the merger affects media companies operating in Irish markets and streaming service availability for Irish consumers. It shapes how European competition rules apply to major deals that Irish audiences and businesses engage with daily. A lot moving this morning. Tensions abroad in the Red Sea and Middle East pushing up energy costs, water crises on both sides of the Irish Sea, and here at home, tightening budgets and urgent questions about whether Irish households have been overcharged on their insurance. And that's the morning brief for today. Whatever the day brings, take it steady. I'm Neil. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, look after yourself.